Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Wrap-up time for September for my Star Trek month. Here I'm going to talk about how I've got on with the pens I've been using this month. I'm going to rank the 6 that I started the month with, and then I'll fetch out all the additional pens that I brought in and share some experiences that I've had with each of them. So join me now, down on the table, let's jump on in and take a look at the rankings. Here we are down on the table, time to go through and start ranking these pens. This month I actually quite surprised myself with the rankings that I came up with. So we started off the month with the Jinhao 100 Centennial, the PensBBS 308, the Hongdian N8, the Just Turnings Enceladus, Sailor Pro Gear Slim and the Waterman Carene. At position number 6 this month, was quite close, but I decided to go for the PensBBS 308. This is the mojito colour, nice transparent green. Very nice pen. Why it comes in at number 6, it feels very thin, so the section here does feel quite thin. Also feels a little bit on the short side, not too much. You know, it's usable unposted. Will posts alright, but then it feels awkward when it's posted. But unposted, just about usable, feels like a very light pen. It is. I mean, it's a clear plastic. It's a cartridge converter. So let's take this off. We can see here the converter. Nice and empty now, been cleaned out a couple of times. The other thing that puts me off this pen is the nib. This has got the nib that came with it. So this is a PensBBS fine nib. It's alright. It works nice. It writes nicely. It's just a bit on the fine side for me, so I'd like to see this with a wider nib. What I'm planning to do is I've got a couple of broad Yoho nibs. I'm planning to swap one of those into here the next time I use this pen. But in terms of ranking, it was a pen, I did enjoy it the least, mainly because I've got to be honest, that fine nib. For this reason though, we come in at position number 6. So that's the PensBBS 308. At position number 5, this was my first surprise. I'm given to the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. If you've heard me talk about this pen in the past, you'll know I absolutely love the nib on this pen. It's one of the nicest nibs I've got. Love writing with it. It's a 14 karat gold nib. There you can see, really nice, gorgeous feedback. Such a pleasure to write with. But the pen is very, very thin. You can see there. I know it's a slim model, so I was expecting it to be thin. So I'm not complaining about it, but I'm ranking this compared to how I enjoyed all the other pens this month. It's quite a small pen. This is one I do need to use posted. Posted, it feels nice. It's a nice length. It's nicely balanced. Still too thin. Still quite a light pen as well. I love the material. This is blue-green nebula. Hopefully you can see them reflecting that little flecks of silver. It's another one. It's a cartridge converter. There's the converter. This pen lasted most of the month on a single fill. It's very small. It's also quite a lot of money. I mean, I'm saying 244. That's when I got it. I think it's getting closer up towards 300. So it's quite an expensive pen. And when you consider how much you're paying, yes, it is a small pen for the money, but it's a well-made pen. When I think about how I enjoyed writing with it, loved the feedback, just the thinness. Then I've got to think, how did it go with all the rest of the pens? And this is where, again, I've got to start impacting the scoring. And, it's still an enjoyable pen. If I was given like an ABC grade, it would be an A, maybe even an A plus for the way it writes. But in comparison to the others, it's a bit low down this month. So this comes in at position number 5. So that's the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. Position number 4. This one was another shock. It goes to the Waterman Carene. The most expensive pen of the month. And I'm putting it in at position 4. I've just moved this up so we can see the entry down there. This is an elegant pen. Can't understate how elegant this is. It looks very nice. This gorgeous marine amber colour. So pretty. Very, very nice. The gold trim sets off really nice. This end finial looks different. The pen, 18 karat gold nib. It's got an inlaid nib there. It's a medium nib. Very nice nib to write with. And the nib is one of the reasons why I've marked this down. During this month, I've not had much of an issue because I've had Diamine Earl Grey in there. Before this fill, I had a number of different inks and I was having problems with some of them. Now, before I put the Earl Grey in, I did give this a very, very good clean. I even made it and put it through my ultrasonic cleaner. There may have been a little bit of an ink blockage, but before this Earl Grey, I was having terrible flow issues with it hard starting and skipping on me. With the Earl Grey, it's not been too bad. We've got a cartridge converter here. There we go. I like these two little O-rings at the bottom, so when you're putting the body on, it just softens that landing. The section is a bit on the thin side. It's the nature of this embossed section, I know that. The pen feels nice, it's a nice weight, it's nice balance. Wool posts post extremely nice. I don't post it, I worry about when putting this on because that's metal in there. Am I going to scratch this gorgeous, elegant finish? The nib has got a little bit of a sweet spot. Not been a major problem with this Diamine Earl Grey, but I do find as I'm writing, I tend to rotate my pen slightly, and I'm over-exaggerating the rotation here. And I would be writing, and by just slightly turning it, it would stop writing because it would move out of that sweet spot. The other reason why I'm marking it down is actually because of the cost. $400 to replace this pen. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the pen. I love writing with it. But I get worried when I go out of the house. What if I lose it? What happens if I drop it on the floor in the coffee shop? You know, I just worry with that amount of money. I don't want to actually use it when I'm out and about. So it ends up just being a pen to use in the house. And part of me is thinking, well, you know, a pen should be able to use that anywhere. So this is another reason why I have to mark it down. And I was really struggling. I wanted to give this Precision 1. I love the pen. I know it's worth it. I know it's a lot of money. But when I take everything into account, the best I can give it this month is position number 4. So that's the Waterman Carene. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Let's just reposition this. We can take them bottom 2 off because we've already filled those in. So position number 3. Started to get really hard here to decide between them. Position 3 I decided to give to the Just Turnings Enceladus. This is Brooks Blank's Golden Blue Jay. Very pretty pen, very nice pen. Handmade pen, made by a gentleman over in Brisbane, so it's an Australian-made pen. Just look at the colours in this. The pen itself is a nice fit in the hand. It's a nice length. It's a nice width there in the section. Slightly concave, so a bit like an hourglass type shape there. Fits really well. The nib, Yoho nib. Nice nib there, broad nib. It's a cartridge converter. Good capacity. One fill of this lasted me virtually the whole month. It's light. That's one of the downsides to it. Nature of the material, I'm not criticising that. I understand that. I appreciate it. It is light. It just about posts. This end just literally goes on there. So really, if you post it, not overly useful there. Which is a shame because, you know, if you could see the whole thing in one go, you know, that might look really nice. The other thing which put me off this is the ink. I love the ink. I love Robert Oster Tranquility. It's such a gorgeous colour. But you can see here, there's no character to it. It's a fairly flat looking colour. Whereas, you know, if we look even at the one below it, let me just move this up, the Diamine Aurora Borealis, there's some shading coming through. There's some character, which I'm not seeing in the Just Turnings Enceladus. So for these reasons, I marked this in at position number 3. So that's the Just Turnings Enceladus. Position number 2. I gave that to the Jinhao 100 Centennial. This is in this gorgeous cracked blue colour. Really nice. I love this style of pen. Yes, there's the Jinhao 100, there's Kaigalu 316, there's some Mahjong ones, there's loads of pens in this style. This is that Parker Duofold style. Fits really nicely in the hand, very, very nice. Cartridge converter. Love this cracked ice. Beauty with the Jinhao 100 Centennial series, loads and loads of different colour options. The nib. Number 6 size nib. I've got here the nib that came with it, so this is a Jinhao medium nib. Writes quite nicely. A little bit on the bit thin for what I would like. I'd like a slightly wider line, but I'm being picky here. But because it's a number 6 nib, it's easy for me to swap. The Robert Oster Blue Water Ice. Nice colourful ink. You know, yes, it's a blue, so it can be a bit boring at times. But I do see some shading. I do see some character coming through. So for all these reasons, I thought, well, go on, this must be position number 2. That's the Jinhao 100 Centennial. So that means there's only one pen left, which means there's only one pen can be position number 1. This is the Hongdian N8. This is a flying feathers, so hopefully you can see there on the cap, there's a flying feathers pattern. I'm trying to get it so it will focus on this. There we go, really nice. Like the way they're like slightly, I don't know if it's embossed. It does feel like there's a slight difference in the size. Very nicely done. Another pen, cartridge converter. This one, I actually finished using it today. This is the first month for quite a while where every single pen I've used this month is actually empty when I'm recording this video. And it ran out just this morning. So this still needs to be cleaned out. I like the fact we've got the white all the way through. You know, we've got the white section, we've got the white end, we've got this nice silver here, which really offsets that white. Slightly translucent here in the barrel. Not sure what I feel about that. To me, it looks odd. I'd rather that either be a solid white, or even better, have that feather pattern on there as well, or just this solid white. I think that would look a little bit nicer. Steel nib. It's a silver coloured nib. Very nice. The nib on here is a medium, and it's a nice medium. I think it's a nice generous medium. I started the month with Dominant Industry Lungo. That ran out on the first day. I expected that to happen. Then I filled it with Diamine Stargazer. Now, not sure if it comes over on here, but Stargazer, it's like a bluey black ink. It's got a gorgeous red sheen, so hopefully that might get caught in the camera. But there's also, and you can see here at the bottom of the M and the start of that really manky eye, there's a hint and a snap of a bright blue shimmer. Quite a nice, interesting ink. What has been interesting is it's not caused any issues with the feed. Normally when I've got a shimmer ink in a pen, the feeds block up and I end up having to prime the nib all the time. Haven't had to do that once with this, so really enjoyed that. I need to get that Stargazer in some other pens to give them a try, see if it's actually a property of the ink or a property of this pen. Really enjoyed it. Nice fitting pen. Nice width there in the section. If I was going to complain, would be nice if it was maybe half a centimetre, you know, maybe, what's that, about 1/8 of an inch, something like that, longer. Just a little bit extra length would be nice. It does post, to me, feels back heavy, feels awkward. But I've really enjoyed this. This has been the pen when I've needed to reach for a pen when one of the others wasn't handy. This has always been the one I'd reach for. So if I went to my pen case, all the pens were in the pen case, this is the one I would have picked. So for this reason, we fetch this in at position number 1. So that's the Hongdian N8. Let's just swap over the page and we'll take a look at the extra pens that I brought in. So I only brought in 2 additional pens this month. The first one of my favourite pens, I've got to be honest. This is the TWSBI Diamond 580. I say all the pens are now empty, so this one's been cleaned out. I love cleaning this out. It's nice and easy. How I do it is the nib here actually unscrews. This comes off I can then use a syringe and really deep clean in there. Then I put this plastic back on, and then the nib just screws back in. Dead easy to clean. Lets you really get in there deep and get all that ink out. This is another nice pen. I'll say it's one of my favourite pens, I've got to be honest. Section, teeniest bit too thin. Would be nice if it was just a little bit wider. Lengthwise, perfect. You can try and post it, but it posts here onto this filling mechanism. This is a piston filler. So it would be easy to twist and end up ejecting ink. So not really a pen I would recommend posting. Very nice pen, very enjoyable pen. So that's the ink in here. This is an ink I don't use often enough. It looks like we've got a fair bit of feathering coming through on here. It does seem to be a fairly wet combo. Look at the gorgeous shading. You know, this Diatramentis cherry, beautiful ink. When you go to the bottle and actually smell the bottle, it does actually smell of cherries. I don't notice that smell once I've written with it. So that's the TWSBI Diamond 580. My last pen that I brought in was the Jinhao X450. So we're talking, you know, a cheap pen, a $6 pen. I think, yeah, that was the cheapest pen I've used all month. You know, the 100 Centennial, that had been $18, and this one's $6, so a third of that price. Another nice pen, bit on the short side. I don't like the section. It's got this like cutout, which is ideal if you hold your pens a little bit higher, but I don't. I hold my pens down near the bottom of the section. I find this actually quite uncomfortable. Cartridge converter, there we go. Again, it's a pen, loads of different finishes available. This one I just call black and grey. You know, it's what it is. It's black, it's grey, it's white. Beauty of that, can use it with any ink. What I used it though with is a sample of Tasha Utamara Usumi. Hopefully I haven't mangled that name too much. Didn't get on well with this. I found that the ink was very viscous. I was getting lots of flow issues. I was having to prime the feed quite a bit. I think the problem is actually me. I'd had this sample about 2 years before I put it into this pen. And I think, obviously with the hot Australian summers, I think there'd been some evaporation from the sample, which made the ink very, very viscous and very sticky. And I think that's what's causing the problems. It's currently empty. I need to get another ink into here. What I'm thinking is I might try something like Noodler's Heart of Darkness, which I know I don't have that viscous issue with. I think this is a pen, although you could use any colour, it just shouts black to me, which is again one of the reasons why I went for this Tasha ink. But Jinhao X450, very nice weighty pen. I just need to spend some time looking at them flow issues. Let's swap on over and we'll take one final look at the pens I've been using this month. The pens that I was using in September of 2023. Position 6, the PensBBS 308. Number 5, Sailor Pro Gear Slim. Number 4, Waterman Carene. Number 3, Just Turning's Enceladus. Number 2, Jinhao 100 Centennial. Position number 1, the Hongdian N8. And my extra pens, the TWSBI Diamond 580 and the Jinhao X450. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. How have you been getting on with your pens this month? How about the inks? Are there any combos that you've really liked? Are there any that you found just didn't work as you would like them to? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.